I'd like to start off by welcoming all of you to today's session on how Copilot supercharges productivity without a paid license. My name is Alana. I'm part of the team here at Change Champions. And a little bit about today, what we'll show you is how Copilot unlocks productivity without a paid license. So if you're in the process of rolling out Copilot in your organization, you're definitely in the right place. If you're also trying out the features, want to learn more about what the possibilities are, you're going to get some great tips and tricks and information today. So in a moment, I'll introduce you to our speaker, Augustine Del Vento. But before I do that, I just wanted to cover some details about our event today. So the session will run for about 45 minutes and we'll leave about 10 minutes at the end for questions. If you do have questions though throughout the session, please feel free to post them in the chat or the Q&A and we'll attempt to answer them during the session as well. And I'll also be posting our agenda, the use cases that we're going to be covering today, so you can check that out. And a survey at the end to grab your input on the session. So with that, I think we can go into who we are at Change Champions. So Change Champions is a boutique change and technology adoption Microsoft partner. Our mission is to help people get the most from their Microsoft 365 technology investment. So we don't sell licenses or tech per se, but our purpose is to drive real adoption and, as I mentioned, realize the value from your Microsoft tools. Our team is ProSci certified, and we're all really passionate about change management. We partner with some great organizations to drive the best outcomes. So we can cover that in the next slide. We've been fortunate enough to work with organizations across Canada and North America, public sector, mining, finance, forestry, beverage distribution. We run the full gamut. So after that, I will pass the mic over to Augustine Del Vento. He's our CEO at Change Champions. He's going to introduce himself and he's going to share our agenda for today.
Excellent. Thank you, Lana. Very, very excited to have you all here, folks. Thanks so much for joining. We really look forward to this session. I think there's a lot of nuggets in Microsoft Copilot chat that will impress you, I hope. We have a full agenda today. In this session, I'm going to demonstrate how throughout different real-life use cases, you can use Copilot chat to help you be more effective at work. And hopefully, invite you to encourage your peers in your respective organizations to do the same. We're going to go through email and how you can summarize emails and draft responses using Copilot chat. We're going to show you how you can use Copilot chat to compare documents and summarize complex documents. We're going to show you how to get summaries from your meetings using Copilot chat. As you may have heard, that's probably one of the core use cases of the paid license, is the ability to extract meeting notes and make decisions based on what happened in the meeting. We'll show you how the chat, the free Copilot, can make up for that as well. If you are someone that works in Excel and usually deals with complex data sets, we'll show you how Copilot chat can help with that. And also create presentations based on data sheets or documents, or even just from your own input. And we're going to wrap things up with my favorite, is the creation of agents. And believe it or not, I'm going to show you how to create an agent in just 5 minutes. And these agents are little helpers that we can set up to conduct either or to respond to questions that we have, or make some very specific use cases that we may have. So I'll demonstrate that. I think it's going to make more sense. So with that, I'm going to move into a few slides, and then most of this session today is going to be in Copilot chat. I welcome you to join me if you want to try things out along the way. Please do. We love questions throughout as well. Okay, the first thing, just to cover some basics. While this is not going to be an intro session, assumes you know a little bit about Copilot chat, I do want to cover some basics for folks. First of all, you can think of Copilot chat as as your new AI assistant. The way I like to think about this is like, it's not replacing me, but it's certainly having someone that can do some of the work that I used to do on my own. So such as, for example, if I had a complex data set, maybe I had to be the one creating insights from it. Now Copilot Chat can do it for you. So if you give the chat, the AI bot, if you give it the right input, it'll really help you as an assistant, right? So automation of repetitive tasks, insights from data sets, summarizing emails, as I mentioned, creating actions, drafting content, and creating agents. These are some of the things you can do. But if you think of any active verb that you can put in front of a sentence, Copilot can probably help you with that. All right. Now, where can you find Copilot? And you'll see this throughout the demo today. You can find it pretty much everywhere you work in Microsoft 365. So if you're in Teams, you'll see that it can be pinned on your Teams navigation panel. If you don't find it, it may not be there, but if you look around, you'll see that you can pin it. In Outlook, you'll see it in the ribbon. In your Office apps, such as, say, Excel, you'll see it in the ribbon as well. You will see Copilot Chat also in Microsoft Edge, and it's up there. This is great if you're, for example, looking at a website or a page on the internet and you want to analyze the page. So Copilot Edge can help you with that. And then finally, Microsoft has put Copilot in the web portal directly in Office 365. And this is for a reason. I think Microsoft's vision is that we will all start our day looking at that agent and start the day from within Copilot. So it's really front, right, and center in the Microsoft 365 webpage. So I'll show you in a second. Now, I want to clarify the terminology because there's a lot of sort of confusion out there, I think, on what Copilot do I have and which one is. There's different Copilots. Microsoft has branded Copilot is kind of like the general term, but then you apply it for different things. You can apply it for sales. You can apply it for other things. We're going to cover two main things today. Primarily, actually, the Copilot, the chat, what we call the AKA free Copilot. This Copilot is included in your Microsoft Work or School account. So if you have a Microsoft 365 license, you are already you basically have access to it. The other one that you will hear, and you may or may not have access to it, is the Microsoft 365 Copilot. And what this is basically an add-on subscription to your regular Microsoft 365 subscription. It's about a $30 add-on. And the main difference between these two is that Copilot Chat is grounded on web data, whereas Microsoft 365 Copilot is grounded on both work as well as web. What does that mean? I'll give you an example. So if somebody's asking me to describe who Change Champions is and what we do, I can certainly ask Copilot to help me with that. In this Copilot, the free Copilot will search on all the content in the web and produce a response on the basis of what we have in our website, for example. And the flip side, if I have Copilot for Microsoft 365, it will also crawl through all the information we have internally in our SharePoint sites, maybe OneDrive, emails even that we've sent to people, and it'll produce a response that is even more fulsome and use all those things that it's gathered. So it really reasons through Word data as well as web. So it's really, really powerful because it saves me a ton of time. And oftentimes all the things that I say about our company are in meetings like this or emails that I send to people or maybe website information. So it's compiling it all into one response. So coming back to the difference is one is grounded on web information. The other one is web and work. There's more to it than this, but we wanted to keep it simple for you and just establish the differences. Now, as you will see today, there's a lot of power in the use of Copilot Chat, even though it's web grounded. You'll see there's so much that you can do, and you can still connect it in some ways with work. So that's what we're aiming to do today, show you how you can use the free to make up if you don't have the paid, okay? Now, an additional benefit to both of these Copilots is the fact that you have enterprise data protection. What we mean by that is that all the information you put in the chat with Copilot is protected within the boundaries of your organization. That is very important because we know there are a lot of organizations out there that are still using, say, shadow AI tools like ChatGPT. And the problem with that is that if you're not paying for an enterprise license for those, you may be exposing data that may be internal. So what we need to be careful about is what we put in AI, as we know, right? If you consider the fact that Microsoft is already protecting that within the boundaries of your organization, you're in a better place. And the other thing to this is that Microsoft is not training the model, the LLM, on your responses. And so if you read the fine print, you'll see that ChatGPT, if you're using a free option, they are, right? So be careful with what tool you use, and in if you want to be safe and work within the boundaries of your company, certainly this is a very important and a great benefit, I would say. I want to stop there for a second and see if anyone has any questions. Please go ahead. And in the meantime, I'm going to move to my demo.
There are no questions in the chat, but if anyone would like to raise their hand or put a question in the chat now, please, yeah, go ahead.
Excellent. So again, I welcome you to play a little bit with me. We're going to go through all of these demos through different apps. So I hope this illustrates some of the power of Copilot. The first one is related to Outlook and email handling, if you will. So as you may be in the same situation as Alan here, and Alan is the persona I'm using for this demo, we all receive a lot of emails throughout our day, and sometimes some of these emails require us to really think through the answers, and some emails are a little bit harder to respond than others, right? In this case, Alan received an email from Alex, and he basically is telling him that after reviewing the priorities, they need to reassign Jordan, who is a colleague of ours, to another project, and therefore I'm being asked to absorb the responsibilities of, in this case, Jordan. So Alex here is asking me to confirm by end of day if I'm able to absorb this change, or if I can provide any other alternatives. Again, what we're trying to paint here is this situation of you receiving a tough email and really having to think through this. The first thing you can do, and in this case, it's quite a simple email, but you will see that in Copilot, in Outlook, you have access to as I mentioned, the ribbon Copilot. So you can click on any email that you received. And what this is doing, the Copilot in Outlook, is actually capturing everything that is happening in this particular conversation. So the first thing I can do is I can simply just ask Copilot to summarize this email. You see, I have a prompt here that is predefined. I can use that. I can also obviously type my own. And you can see, now assume this would have been a conversation with a threaded email. This would do exactly the same. It would basically summarize the entire email. You see there the summary. Now, what I really love about this is Copilot is going the step forward and it's asking me already, would you like to draft a professional email response based on what I'm seeing here? So I'm going to say yes, and I'm just going to select that. So Copilot is doing the work for us, and you'll see, thank you for the update and your confidence in my ability to lead. I'm prepared to take the full ownership of the True North 365 project final phase, including the activities. I'll review the current timeline and resource allocation today, and blah, blah, blah. So you can certainly now go further and ask Copilot to make this sound more like you. You could say, please help me draft the response, politely declining the offer and giving good reasons for it. Prepare a list of bullet points with the reasoning for it. So again, saving you time, and this may be a rather simple example, but think of a lengthy email and also think of a tough response you need to give back, right? Copilot can do the work of drafting. The other thing personally I like is when I type, I sometimes type fast, and frankly, I make typos. And so when you write and copy from Copilot, you're saving yourself because you know the typos won't be there, right? So I hope that helps with the first use case. The next use case, even more meaty here, if you will, is the ability to compare really, really lengthy documents. And for that, I'm going to move to the actual Copilot interface here, the landing page. As I mentioned, Microsoft is made the first place you go when you go to Office 365, Copilot. So if you want to go here, it would be m365.cloud.microsoft. This is, or you can go to portal.office.com. You'll land in this interface here. You can see here, you have a few things I just want to point out. You have your chats with Copilot. You have the Office search here. This is where you search all documents in your organization. And of course, you have the different apps that you use on a regular basis. Another thing, of course, this is where you type your prompts. In here, you'll see, I love this, by the way, is the ability to activate GPT-5, which is a model that is a bit more advanced. You use this model if you want more detailed responses. So you'll see that if you create a prompt without the model and then try the model, you'll get a little bit of a different response, and the one with the model will be a bit more detailed. So if you're looking for a real good analysis, I encourage you to turn it on. In here, you can start a new chat. And in here, you can start a temporary chat. What this means is that you are creating a chat that is not being collected in the conversations, right? So it's almost like creating an incognito browser, but for chats. What I like about creating chats as well, folks, is that all of them stay here. So one of the things that I normally do, by the way, is I go back to chats, and you can resume a conversation with the chat bot, right? So if I, for example, want to resume a conversation here, I can always go back. You see the reasoning for GPT-5, all the reasoning that is done. And I can always just go back and continue the conversation with the chatbot. Why is this important, by the way? The reason it's important is Copilot remembers the context of the conversations you're having with it. And so when you are already in a conversation, you don't have to recap on everything you said before. So you can always go back to an earlier conversation. Okay. Following up on this, you have the enterprise data protection. If you don't see this green activated, it means you didn't sign in. And so be careful, because you may be using the free or the personal Copilot. So you want to see this here activated. Let's take this example. So I have a very lengthy, it's essentially an RFP, a request for proposal. All right. And it would take me personally, we do a lot of responses to RFPs. It usually takes us a lot of time just to read the basics and try to find the basics of these documents, right? So you can see it's just a very lengthy thing, but we may think this is an interesting RFP to respond to. So what I'm going to do simply is I'm going to drag and drop the document in the Copilot chat, and I'm going to ask Copilot chat to summarize it for me. So let's just do that. I'm going to move this to right here, grab the document, move it in, and say, please summarize this document and provide the main points in a table format. So there we go. I could be more specific than this, obviously, and maybe seek specific answers from Copilot Chat, such as, for example, does this document include a scope for change management? Or I can really query the document as much as I need to. And Copilot is doing the work for me. As you can see, it's providing me the summary, and then just basically a list of all the things that I would have normally, honestly, have to come up with myself, right? So if you're working in legal, if you're working in finance, if you're working in HR, think of the power of this, right? We all receive resumes, we receive legal documents. Another thing you could do, by the way, is have two documents and ask Copilot to compare the two and tell you how are they different or how they are similar, for example, right? This was just one example with one specific document. I want to show you another example. If you're in HR, this will resonate for you. So I'm going to create a new chat here. And what I'm going to do actually is ask Copilot to compare two job descriptions against a role that we have just posted. The role is right here, is a customer success account manager. And this role, of course, has to do with helping, in this case, Microsoft role posting. It's a public posting, by the way. It's helping clients get the most of their Microsoft licenses, right? I'm an HR professional, received two resumes that applied for this role, and I want to know who is the more suitable candidate for this role. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the chat here, and I want to show you something really cool here, by the way. In the chat, you can see more here, and you can see that you have a lot of the prompts that you may have used or that are recommended to you. The other thing you can do is you can go to the prompt gallery at the bottom here. You can access even more prompts. So if you're looking for ideas, this is a great place to go, okay? Now, the other thing you'll see here is that you can save your own prompts. In this case, I saved one just to show you, and I'll show you how to save them in a second. But essentially, you can save your own prompts. And in this case, I'm an HR professional. I'm constantly doing this thing, right? So I don't want to have to retype this several times and say, compare these two resumes in relation to this job posting and tell me which candidate is better suited for the role. And I pasted the role that we just saw. Now, all I need to do is I need to add the files for context. I'm going to add files from my device here. And you can see Jordan and Priya are the two candidates that applied for this role. And I'm going to open and add these to the chat. These two documents are uploaded to my cloud in OneDrive, and now Copilot can reason against those two. So let's see what Copilot has to say. There we go. So first thing, he's doing a great job at giving me a summary of the job requirements and qualifications required, and then is going into the specific candidates. You can see Jordan and his skills, and Priya and her skills, and then this is where the value is. Of course, is giving me a conclusion based on the two roles, and I purposely, obviously, created these resumes. Actually, I created them with Copilot, so you can create things like that as well, right? And it's giving me a good recommendation on who to choose. All right. So again, we went from Outlook and seeing how Copilot chat, free Copilot can help you there. We are looking now at document comparison. That's another really good use case. And now I want to move to the next use case. And the next use case has to do with meetings. Now, before I jump in there, I want to show you what the paid Copilot can give you. So whenever you host a meeting, the paid Copilot will, assuming you record the meeting, either record or enable transcript, right? The paid Copilot is going to give you what we call the basically meeting recap, and the meeting recap will provide the notes from the meeting as well as follow-up tasks that are given to specific people in the meeting. And it's just basically extracting from the transcript of the meeting all these conclusions. And we can go further than this and ask Copilot questions. For example, if I am in a meeting, I can go to the Copilot button here, and I can ask, for example, what questions could I ask about this meeting? They'll help me plan next steps. And Copilot will extract all the conclusions made from the meeting, and it's going to help me come up with some really cool questions. Now, of course, this assumes you have the paid version. So I want to show you how you fill in the gaps with the free version. And really, this, folks, is a game changer for me. I record every single meeting now. I honestly do. And if somebody says I'm not comfortable, maybe I ask if I can transcribe the meeting. You can enable transcript without recording, and that's just game changing. So I'll show you. So we'll create a new Copilot chat here. And what we're going to do, if you've recorded the meeting will be saved to your OneDrive, okay? And here it is. If you're curious where it is exactly, we can show you afterwards. But essentially, in your files in the OneDrive should be a recording folder, and the meeting has been recorded. This meeting in particular, we were discussing Project True North, and there were some things. It was a short update, but some things that were assigned to different stakeholders. So I want to ask Copilot to help me with that. What am I going to do? I'm going to select the meeting recording, copy the link for it, and I'm going to make sure that we have everyone has the link here, and I'm going to put it in the Copilot chat. So say, please help me summarize this meeting and create a table with roles and responsibilities assigned. And all I need to do now is reference for Copilot here and reference the meeting specifically. So I'm going to paste the link to the meeting. You see that Copilot is picking up on the fact that it's stored in my OneDrive. So I'm going to select go. And then again, what you're doing here is you're filling in the gaps, right? Because Copilot chat is not grounded on your work data, but you can still connect your work data with Copilot chat, which is really cool. So you can see here the meeting recording or the meeting summary is there. This is exactly what we discussed, and a beautiful table that now I can essentially copy and send as a follow-up from our meeting. Isn't this amazing? Right? I don't know about you, but this is, for me, has been a game changer. Sometimes we forget what we discussed. Sometimes it's hard to extract the conclusions. And again, remember, you can also query Copilot to go further, right? So what questions should I ask to further clarify the plans, right? And so Copilot can reason through the recording and help you think of things to ask. And you name it. There's so many possibilities from within a meeting. Give it a try. It's incredibly powerful. Okay, into the next use case. The next use case we had on deck was the analysis of data. And I don't know about you, but I work with a lot of data all the time, and it's sometimes hard to summarize information, extract insights from data, and sometimes data may be in qualitative form like this. For example, we asked all our we do a lot of Microsoft training, obviously, and we ask people, how likely are you to use, or how are you most likely to use SharePoint online, for example, right? And people give us responses that may be, because it's an open text sort of question, they give us all kinds of responses, right, that we cannot essentially easily put into themes. So we'll have to rely on someone else to help us with that. Or another example, we may have events that we're hosting on a regular basis, like, the essentials of Excel, Microsoft Teams, and we collect, registrations to those events. We collect attendance information. We also collect ratings on our trainings and things to know how people are feeling about them. Now I have this really complex data set. You'll see that, for example, we asked before and after questions. We did knowledge tests. We asked about productivity savings, even like asking people, how much time is it going to save you, right? There's so much information here that would be so hard for me to even wrap my head around how to make something meaningful out of this, right? Yet, this is real life, folks. This is what we use. So I'm going to show you. So in Copilot for Excel, if you open it, you'll see that you can enable Copilot here in the ribbon. And Copilot will ask you, first thing is like, do you want me to help you sort of analyze insights of this? And I'm just going to say yes. Go ahead and analyze this workbook and give me interesting data insights. So let's see what it does. I was doing this before the session. It blew my mind, honestly, how easy it became for me to extract interesting insights from the data. So while we're doing this, by the way, another way you could do this is you could go to the chat. Let me jump in there for a second. You can go to the chat. Another way to do the same would be to do the chat and say, put the prompt here and then add the content from your work content, right? So for whatever this Excel file is stored. So keep that in mind as well. So you can either do it from within the app or you can use the chat, the chat. And here we go. I'm going to move this to the right just to show you with a bit more information here. This to me is crazy. Like if we look at, say, it's giving me for each one of the tabs that I have here, it's giving me insights. So look at this, assets view. This is relation, by the way, to give you context. We do a lot of training using a platform where people access assets to view information, much like, say, LinkedIn Learning. Well, it's telling me which were the top assets viewed. And it's giving me already a beautiful chart that I can copy and paste in a presentation. Okay, so it's telling me essentially what are the core things that people are watching and what they care the most about. Another great thing, what are the highest rated events? I didn't even have to ask for this. It's basically giving me exactly what I was thinking. Is I want to know, what are the highest rated events, and created a table for me. What are people's confidence before and after training? And you can see before training X amount and after training X amounts. And it's actually giving me a summary of that information based on average training. And we asked from 1 to 10, right? So it sounds like after training, people feel more confident, which is what we wanted. Productivity gains. We asked, how productive will you feel after this training? And this is the answers we received. Again, amazing. And then we also looked at, we had some data based on usage. So what are the users that have basically used the technology the most? And it's ranking those users based on their usage of information. So now I can identify champions, for example. And then it's giving me some interesting patterns. So what did I do? I do very little, right? So I can go further. You can see it's even giving me some ideas, create a dashboard with these insights. What I'm going to do actually to move us to the next use case is creating content, creating PowerPoints, creating Word documents. You can do a lot of these things with Copilot Chat. I'm going to show you how to create a PowerPoint. I say create a PowerPoint deck for an executive summary with these data. All right, so I'm going to prompt Copilot. And again, I'd like you to sort of extract this same example for other purposes. Let's say, for example, that you need to ask Copilot to help you create a job posting. You can go to the Copilot chat and say, I have this example for you from our website. Please mimic this example and create a job posting for another position. Give Copilot the ideas of what you want in that position, and it's going to produce it for you. So that would be an example in Word. Another example I'll give you for Excel, for example, is you could ask Copilot to create a sample data sheet for a demo session that you're hosting, right? And so Copilot can produce that in seconds without, much input. So there's a lot of ideas that you can play with that will essentially help you with in creation of content. And I can fix the chart issue completed. I am just, for some reason, it didn't download it yet. Provide a download file. in PowerPoint. Let's see if that helps. By the way, when you use AI, you will find that at times the responses are a little bit different, right? So you have to be comfortable with it being. It's just like I guess you could say like talking to a person. It may be that you don't always get the same responses, which I think is cool in a way, and sometimes when you do these demos is a bit nerve-wracking, but I hope it will help me here. So. I'll wait for the PowerPoint, but I don't want to waste too much time in this demo. I do want to see, Ilana, are there any questions before I move on to the next use case?
Not at this point in the chat, there aren't.
Okay, excellent. So again, coming back to our agenda, we talked about emails. We looked at document comparison. We are looking at and meetings summarization. We look at analysis of data, and I was attempting to do content creation here, and if it doesn't work, we'll try another thing. And now what I want to show you is agents, because in Copilot Chat, you can also create agents, and this could be quite useful depending on where you work. So I'm going to go back. I'll come back to this, by the way, but we'll go here in the Copilot landing page here. All right. So what I want to show you is you have agents that are included with the free Copilot. And so if you go to the agent store here, you see there's some that are built by Microsoft, and they're very powerful. So I definitely encourage you to explore some of them. I have not played with all of them, but I can tell you, for example, this one here is very powerful if you're looking for feedback on your prompts. Remember, a good prompt means a better response, right? So, and better outcomes from Copilot. So if you're looking for coaching, you'll definitely want to try that one. Surveys helps you create surveys and more. It's really, really powerful. This one helps you brainstorm. And again, I haven't tried these out, but there's some free ones here again that you can try out, and very well worth it. Now, I want to create my own agent. In this particular case, Ilana and we are always trying to stay up to date with the latest and greatest by Microsoft, because we want to teach it to organizations like yourselves and be able to stay on top of what's coming. And as you know, Microsoft is constantly releasing new things and creating new things. So it's tough sometimes to stay up to date. So my agent, the agent that I'm going to create, here you go, is going to be called the productivity news agent, call it. And the purpose of this agent is going to be to help us stay up to date with anything that is new in the world of Copilot, SharePoint, and Microsoft Teams, just to narrow the focus a bit. Okay, and we're going to use internally this agent to stay up to date with information. So I'm going to name this agent. So you can go to create agent, name the agent. Let's call it productivity news agent. And all I need to do here is I'm going to go to actually the describe. I'm in the configure right now. I'm going to go to the describe button here. And to simplify my life, I'm going to actually use a prompt to get Copilot to design the agent with me and save me the time of configuring step by step. So I would like to create an agent that'll help me stay up to date with Microsoft activity tools and new releases, let's call it. So that, as simple as that, you could go even more specific, make this agent, sound polite. You can qualify as much as you want here and provide as much detail. Once you prompt Copilot to do this, you'll see that what Copilot is going to do is already going to think about what this agent can do, and even think about some of the things we could ask of this agent. And you can see them here. For example, what are the latest news features in Microsoft Teams? Maybe one. So here you go. Your agent is now set up. to keep users informed. And so it's picked up on what I want to do. And it's even given me an idea for the name of this agent. Maybe it's the Microsoft Updates Guide or whatever. You can ask Copilot to change the name from here. I'm not going to do that. It's going to continue in the configure now. So here we go. The other thing Copilot has done is given me a short description for the agent. It has given me instructions for the agent. And these instructions will basically influence how the agent responds. So I can, for example, be more specific and say, every time you respond, add my last name and first name and last name as in you're responding from Augustine, right? So you can be very specific with your instructions. And the other thing you'll want to do here is give Copilot a source from where to fetch the knowledge to respond to these queries. So now I want you to think about your own website, for example, your company website, and how you could use, or maybe, if you have the paid Copilot, you can reference SharePoint sites. So think of a policy SharePoint site, right? In this case, the limitation with the free Copilot is that you can only reference web data. So not the SharePoint example, but I wanted to give you an example. So here we have a web page that actually Microsoft uses to communicate a lot of the news about their products. It's the adoption.microsoft page. I'm going to copy the link to this page and go back to my agent and produce or point the agent to this particular page. And there we go. I'm just going to enter this. It looks like my link there is too long. Just there. There we go. And you'll see the page now is the reference for it. And I can continue to sort of allow the agent to do certain things. Not going to bother too much on this right now, but you can see here at the bottom, I can even tailor the different cards that are given to users so that maybe I want to point them to specific prompts that they can use. And I'm going to leave it for now, but this allows you to customize even further. You can even create a neat little image for your agent and customize it that way. So let's try this out before we put it into production. I'm going to say, what are the latest releases for Microsoft 365? Click on that and say, go. And you can see this is exactly what I was looking for, is the news based on different features specific to the areas of collaboration and productivity that I was looking for. And it's giving me references. You can see that reference is specifically to the adoption.microsoft page that I was looking for. So now I'm ready to go with this agent. I'm going to create it. What this is doing is basically publishing the agent. You can always go back and edit it, by the way, but it's creating a publishable version that is now going to be private to you, but you can share with your team if you wish, right? And so this, folks, is the simple version of, if you've heard about Microsoft Copilot Studio, is a much more fulsome version of this. And what it is basically is the ability to create your own agents for different things, for different purposes, right? So here we go. You see it's been added to my agents. I'm going to pin this so that it's always available in my agents there. And now I can use it to query. Now, if I want to share this with my peers, what I can do is I can select the three dots, click share, and now share with everyone in my organization or specific users. And all I need to do is put it in a Teams chat, and then they have access to it as well. Okay. So before I close here, we just do want to have some minutes for questions. I want to show you the beautiful PowerPoint that Copilot has created from the data. Let's check it out. But again, remember, you can use this in many ways. You can create content from Excel. You can create it from other things. And you can see this has done a beautiful job at presenting the information that otherwise I would have had to do, right, in a very nice and simple format for an executive meeting. So I hope this demo has enlightened some of the art of the possible, folks. If you are looking for ways to bring this to your organization and scale the adoption effort, we're more than happy to help you and give you ideas. We do demo sessions like this, but we also do hands-on sessions. As I mentioned, we have a productivity platform that can give you tips and tricks and reinforce the learning. And above and all, we really love what we do, so we have many different ways to help you out. I want to open the floor now for questions.